are so excited to have you here this evening on this wonderful episode of Empowering Parents. And Retha, I think tonight there will be lots of empowering happening. So I'm really excited for that.
Yes, yeah, I'm also excited. And I hope you guys enjoyed our games last week and that you've tried them out a little bit. Let us know how it went, if you had some backseat driving conversations with your children.
The rear mirror views.
So tonight we are going to focus a little bit on healthy authority and on us as parents.
Yeah, I think, what so often happens is we speak about discipline. But, Rita, discipline actually just feels like such a hard word sometimes. And although it's a good thing, what are we really speaking about tonight?
A question many parents have is, am I too strict or am I too lenient? Must I make more rules? Must I take away some rules? So we're constantly having that question. But Jaco, what I realized is it's actually about having a healthy authority in our home. If we can facilitate that within our home, just a healthy authority, the way we speak to our children, the way we speak to one another, I think discipline will just be a much more softer word for us and for us.
So tonight we're actually speaking about establishing a healthy authority in your household,
Yeah, definitely.
and amongst your children, and definitely we are speaking about growing kids with character, and growing kids with character need some proper, decent authority structures.
And we need to have character as parents if we want to grow our children. And I must say, there is nothing in this whole world that has shaped my character more than just being a parent. And I know many of you can say the same. Before you put in rules, I have to abide to that rule. And that has really been one of the most growing times in my life, as being a parent. So even in authority, just submitting under authority, submitting under Jaco as my authority, as my husband, as the priest, the prophet, and the king of this home. As I do that, my children have the example to also submit under the healthy authority.
Now that makes me think of a wonderful scripture, and I want to read that scripture to us. This is in John 7 verse 18, and it says this: "He who speaks on his own authority seeks to win honor for himself, and he whose teaching originates with himself seeks his own glory. But," it says, "he who seeks the glory and is greater for the honor of him who sends him, he is true, and there is no unrighteousness or falsehood or deception in him." Wow, such a wonderful scripture.
Yeah, I think that just gives us a clear definition of the power of healthy authority in our home and what a difference it can make. But I'm just thinking, just an example that we can use just in how we use the authority that we have, because obviously we as parents, we have the authority in our homes over our children, spiritual, physical, emotional authority. And I'm just thinking, in our home, when there is a light bulb that needs to be fixed, it is always a problem because we never have the right light bulb. I don't even know the names. Jaco, what is the...
You get the bayonets and you get the screw-ins, hey?
Yes, so then the screw-ins, we need a screw-in and we only have the bayonet. And then we need a bayonet and it's a problem. Or if we need to screw in, a cupboard or fix something, the screwdriver is just
always missing. And you have a flat screwdriver when you need a star, or you have a star screwdriver when you need a flat.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys have the same problem, but then what happens is we just grab whatever we can find, just grab a knife.
Don't tell my wife, but grabbing the knife for a flat screwdriver works so well.
So you just grab whatever tool you know you have, and if it's a knife, you use a knife, if whatever, just to get that screw in, and we end up breaking the screw, or we end up breaking the knife. And what happens even in our homes, we, through discipline, we need to fix some situations with our children, sibling rivals, or just behaviors. We need to fix them. And what we do is we just grab the closest tool we can find to fix it. And what I mean with that is just the best way we know and what we can do. We just use it right there as a parent. You know, you just smack them, or you just shout at them. You just use the closest, easiest tool you can find to sort out and fix the problem. And
so today I think what's going to be awesome about this discussion is that we're going to speak about what tools do we as parents actually use to establish authority and to discipline our children. But there are some tools that we are just so good at, and there's some tools that we just take up naturally. And so we are going to just outline what are these tools, and you need to come next week, because next week we're going to show you how to use each of these tools with your specific trees.
Yes, Jaco. So with these tools, we're going to introduce you to some of these tools. But what I want to also say is the way you use the tool can either break your child, or it can make your child. And what happens is, if we use healthy authority, this is so important. If we use healthy authority, we're going to grow our children to submit to authority. If we do not use healthy authority, we're going to grow our children to be rebellious, and they're not going to submit under any
They would
leader.
want to rebel against authority. And I'm sure no parent listening to this today wants that. So let's trust the Lord to be able to use these tools effectively.
Yeah. All right, so because we are into the gardening business and we're speaking about trees, our palm trees, our rose bush, our pine and our boxwood trees, we're going to stick to gardening, and we're going to use some gardening tools to just explain what are the tools we grab in our disciplining journey with our children.
So I'm ready for this, and comment and like, and so tell us, are you ready? So Rita, take us into the first
the first one. I actually brought the tools with. And the first tool we have is a saw.
You can see it's quite a tough one.
And it's been used recently. So that's the first parenting style. The next one is a scissor, pruning scissor.
Okay.
And we have gloves, gardening gloves. That's also one we use. And the one that we showed you last week, our beautiful watering can.
Sure.
Okay, so that is all the tools we are going to speak about tonight.
Now I think let's start with one. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with this one.
And the saw. So I think tell us firstly, what is really good about being a saw type parent?
If this is the tool you grab for first when you need to discipline, you are definitely a parent that's going to make your child submit under authority. So your child will have no problem to submit under authority. That is a good thing about a saw parent.
So a saw is something that is quite harsh. Is that what we say?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what is so amazing about the saw parent also is that, you know, those thick branches that are growing in the wrong direction, closer to the home, that's going to push off the roof, that's going to bring damage. The only thing you will need for that is a saw, and that's the only thing that's going to take off that thick branch. It's just going to
You
take
can't
it off.
remove a thick branch with a small little, what's this
Scissor.
thing with the scissor? Hey.
You can't. And also wild bushes, a saw is also good. That wild side of a child, the best discipline tool that you can use is a saw. Now, what is a saw style? That is somebody that likes to have control. And they go for one-way conversation. So whatever I say goes. We don't argue about it. We don't speak about it. What I say, go. One-way conversation. That type of a style is also a lot of intimidation. If I come with a saw, there's a lot of intimidation that can also come through in this parenting style. And this kind of a way is also a style where you will speak down to your children, like you are the boss and they are just going to have to listen, so you speak a little bit down.
Sure. Now that to me sounds like if I'm a rose bush parent, I would maybe grab for this very quickly. Is that true?
Yeah, it can be true. So your temperament can be one of the reasons why you grab for the tool, but it's not necessarily. Many times it's the way you grew up in your home. That's the way discipline was given, and that's the only tool you know how to use, and that's why you grab for it.
Sure.
Yeah. So just one thing that I want to say just before we go to the next one with the saw, Jaco, is just one thing that we need to be careful for if we do tend to grab a saw or we do the saw style is we need to be careful of our tongue. And that's something that you can pray for if you know that that's your natural way. Is just be careful for how you speak to your children. And the other one is patience. That you can tend to not have patience. And I think that's one thing we need as parents with our children, to allow them to grow. I've just seen with our vegetable garden, it's been 2 weeks and now only we can see something happening. So you need patience to allow the growth to happen.
It's just sometimes so nice to get that branch sorted.
Yes. So we're going to go to the next one, to the next tool. So the next one is the pruning scissors.
Aha.
So
sure.
that is awesome.
This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, so this scissor is actually so great in empowering a child. It's really a great tool. If you want to make something look beautiful, you just grab your scissors, the pruning scissors, you just grab them and you just chop here, stand a little bit back and chop a little there, and you can turn something really ugly into something so beautiful if you take the time to prune.
So the focus here, Retha, is small little branches, small things that's easy to get in, reach in, and do that. This is I want to almost say it's like the opposite of the saw.
Yeah. So if you grab this tool, if that is your natural way, you are open for two-way communication. So your child can speak to you, you can speak to your child, and so you prefer that. And also, you can teach your children to negotiate. Okay, so there is always a way out. There's always another way, and you are always open for that, and that is so amazing.
Sure.
Yes.
Now, what do I need to be aware of if I have this tool?
What can happen if you have this tool? A parent like this can have a lot of gray areas. So because everything can go, we can negotiate, we can find another solution, and that can bring confusion to your kids if they do not know what is right and what is wrong. That is now with the saw, that's very strong, there's a right and there's a wrong, and if it's wrong, we cut it off. With this one, it's more like maybe we can try and see if we can cut it in such a way that it can make it look more beautiful. But that can bring confusion.
Okay.
So the child can be unsure of themselves. They're unsure of where they're going, what the purpose of their life is, because they constantly every option goes.
And that makes me think, and maybe you as a parent watching are also thinking, maybe it's so good then to have a sore parent, let's say a sore dad and a scissor mom, and I think that's the beauty of having two parents, is that the one can always tackle whatever the situation they are good at, and I think so often as parents we tend to blame each other for being either a sore parent or maybe just being a parent that is not harsh enough or hard enough. And actually what we are saying is being able to use those qualities is actually so effective, and I believe that is even why we can be together as parents, because God can use that so beautifully in the lives of our children.
Sure, Jaco, you're saying such a key thing now, is that is what will happen, is you will have two different type of parents in the home that will use two different tools to discipline, and if we can use it in the right way with the right authority, we can have a beautiful garden, and that is so exciting. Yes.
Now, is this it? Can we go to the next one?
Yes, let's go to our watering can. I love the Afrikaans word. It says gieter. For those of you that know, it's our watering can. Now this is, if you think of a watering can, if that is standing in your garden, when kids arrive or when kids come into the garden, that is the first tool they will run to. They will run to this watering can and get some water, and they want to water all the plants. So that kind of a parent is always the likable parent. Okay? Because this kind of a parent is just watering. They cannot shape, they don't shape, and they don't change much of the child's character. They actually just water to something that's already there and allows it to grow. So kids love this, and it has its place, but it also has its downfalls also. So this kind of a parent is or overprotective, so they protect their child in any way they can. They make sure that their child never has a bad experience and never does something on their own. Everything they do, everything their child does, they do it with them.
That's the comfort parent. They run to this parent for comfort.
Yes. And they also this kind of, if you refer to this style, this parent also focus on the rights of the child, always thinking, is the child okay? Am I allowed to do this to the child? So they use that, and they also talk up to their children. Like they speak as if their children can many times be the authority in the home.
The children are leading.
The children are leading. That's very true. The other thing is also they spoil their children also. It's just easier. And you know what? It's I want to say this is just maybe a tool that because that's what you know from your parents, or you had a very strict mom and dad, and you just decided I am not going to be like that, and you went all the way to the opposite,
the other side,
and just to spoil your child. Yeah.
What else do we need to be aware of with this?
With this one, Jaco, just before I say aware of, just with this, what is so great, sunshine and water make plants grow. So if you are this kind of a parent, your kids are gonna grow. They are gonna grow because they need water, and that's what you will be giving to them.
Yes.
But to be aware of children can struggle to see the bigger picture and to also have vision and be a little bit independent because they're so used to be under your protection. They don't really see the value of leadership. They can't see it because they are the leader, so they can't see how somebody else can and how good it is to have a leader and somebody that shapes you. And they can struggle to take responsibility if we just keep on protecting them and watering them.
Sure. Awesome, awesome. So this is a wonderful, wonderful parenting style.
Yes,
Yeah.
it has its place. Like every tool in our garden, they have
Now,
their place.
I think we should move on to gloves. And I have a wonderful, the thing I'm so excited about is I get to actually wear these gloves. Let me just put it on here. Yes. Okay, tell us about gloves.
Okay, so the reason why we wear gloves is actually for protection and because we are very cautious. You don't want a spider to bite you. You don't want the dirt from the soil to go under your pretty nails. So it is actually because of a lot of caution. So if you are referring to or going to this tool first, that is because you are cautious, okay? You don't want to get dirty. So that means you don't want to, do all that parenting stuff that all the books are saying, because you know what, is it really going to help? The tree is still going to get cut, but I'm going to just wear my gloves doing it. Yeah. It can be a very strict parent or a very lenient parent. So it goes both ways because there are so much caution when you grab this tool.
Sorry, just on that, maybe you can just define for us what's the difference then between the strictness of this parent and the strictness of the SCISSOR parent?
The strictness of this parent is a cautious parent. So you are very strict and you say what you want to say, but then you back away. You don't give reason, you don't get dirty. And but with the SCISSOR parent is you are very strict, but you bring in a change and you are there in the change, you're part of the change, very involved. Where with this parent, not involved at all. So this parent also they pull out and they separate themselves from their children, and they also believe in the rights of the parents. Like, I am a parent, and I am allowed to step away and take a weekend away from my children. I am allowed to make the rules, and they must just abide to it.
Okay. I actually thought that these are so that you are able to strangle your children and don't have any evidence.
Oh, Jaco. He is a very good parent. I am sure that's one of the tools you won't grab. Okay, the good thing about a glove parent is they teach their children independence. From a very young age, they allow their children to do a lot of things on their own because they are not so hands-on and they're more cautious. The one thing that they have to be aware of, Jaco, is that can bring in a thing of not bringing in your children a thing where they don't trust leadership because they never had a proper relationship with the authority in the home. So they don't trust leadership, and they can experience rejection from you if you are too cautious to be involved, and also that can prevent you from having a quality relationship with your child if you are too cautious.
Okay, sure. Is that it?
That is the four tools.
These are the 4 tools we can use as parents. Isn't that exciting?
Yes. And
yeah.
You know what is so beautiful, Jaco, is that every tool has its time. In our parenting journey, somewhere I am going to have to put down my saw and take up my pruning scissors. Or I'm going to have to take off my gloves and get my watering can. So every one of us in our parenting journey are going to have to take up one of these tools to shape our children, to grow our children, and to show them healthy authority.
And you know what's so beautiful for me? In the Bible, we can see how God actually used all of these tools. And God is our perfect Father, our perfect parent. He was able to use all these tools with his nation, Israel.
Yes, we could see his gentle love. We could see his caution. We could see his raining on his children, just loving them, watering them. We can just see his strict authority coming in there. So that's so true, Jaco, just seeing how God used these tools also in the Bible.
Yeah, so tonight we spoke about what these tools are, and please, in this week, parents, go and identify what is your tool that you grab for first. Maybe if you've already noticed just by listening to all these different tools, maybe just type it down there in the comment box. But go and figure out what are the tools that you grab for, and your husband or your wife, what do you grab for most of the time? But next week, I'm excited about next week, because next week we're going to speak about how we actually use these tools with the different tree types. Because we have these tools, but we have different trees, and different trees need different tools at different times. It's a whole big thing. But it's so exciting to be able to know what to do and when to do it. And I think as a parent, it's a blessing, and we feel empowered by just knowing that.
So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for taking the time to be empowered, and we would love to see you back next week. Have a good
Goodbye.